Hello everyone, and welcome back to Romance Rewind Stories. Before we dive into today's incredible story, I have a small favor to ask. If you're enjoying these heartwarming tales, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads. It's quick, it's free, and it's the best way to support us in bringing you more emotional romance stories. And here's something I'd love to know. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments below. I always enjoy seeing our amazing community from around the world. Oh, and if this story touches your heart, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps us grow and reach more people who love these kinds of tales. Now, let's get into today's story. Billionaire farmer fired single mom for being late. Week later, she donated her kidney to him. Cove Hartwell didn't look like a billionaire. At 43, he wore dusty jeans and work boots, drove a pickup truck with 200,000 miles on it, and could fix a tractor engine faster than most mechanics. But the 12,000 acres of organic farmland he owned in Montana's Flathead Valley, combined with his revolutionary sustainable agriculture patents, had made him worth approximately $3 billion. He was also dying. Chronic kidney disease, stage 4, progressing rapidly toward complete failure. The nephrologist had been blunt. You need a transplant within 6 months, maybe less. Without it, you'll be on dialysis for whatever time you have left, which won't be long, given your disease progression. The transplant list was years long. His rare blood type made finding a match nearly impossible. And Cove's stubborn independence meant he refused to ask anyone for help, even when that stubbornness was literally killing him. Which is why he was in an exceptionally bad mood the morning he fired Sage Winters. Sage had worked at Hartwell Farm for 8 months, managing the farm stand where they sold produce, honey, and artisan goods to locals and tourists. She was reliable, hard-working, and had single-handedly increased their retail revenue by 40% through her marketing ideas and customer service. She was also a 29-year-old single mother to a 4-year-old daughter named Willow, which meant she occasionally had emergencies that made her late. "You're 30 minutes late," Cove said, when Sage rushed in at 6:30 a.m., her hair still wet from a hasty shower. "That's the 3rd time this month." "I'm so sorry, Mr. Hartwell. Willow was sick all night, throwing up every hour. I had to wait for my neighbor to come watch her before I could leave, and I don't need excuses. I need someone who shows up on time. You're fired, effective immediately." Sage's face went white. "Please, I need this job. I'll work extra hours to make up." "I said you're fired. Clear out your things." "Mr. Hartwell, I'm a single mom. I don't have family support. If I lose this job, I can't pay rent. Please, just give me one more chance." Should have thought about that before being chronically late. There are plenty of people who can do your job without the drama of sick kids and childcare issues. The cruelty of his words hung in the air. Sage's eyes filled with tears, but she blinked them back with fierce pride. "Fine, I'll clear my things, but Mr. Hartwell, I hope someday you understand what it's like to need help and have people turn their backs, because that's exactly what you're doing to me and my daughter." She gathered her belongings, a sweater, some family photos she'd pinned to her desk, a drawing Willow had made, and left without another word. Cove told himself he felt nothing. That business was business, that he couldn't run a farm based on people's sob stories, but something about the way Sage had looked at him, with hurt but also a dignity he couldn't quite shake, bothered him more than he wanted to admit. 1 week later, Cove collapsed in his barn. He'd been feeling progressively worse, exhausted, nauseous, unable to eat. That morning he'd woken with crushing chest pain and shortness of breath. Being stubborn, he'd tried to work through it. That stubbornness landed him face first in the dirt, unconscious, his kidneys finally giving up completely. His ranch hand found him and called 911. By the time the ambulance reached the regional hospital, Cove was in acute kidney failure, toxins building in his blood at levels that would kill him within days without immediate intervention. "We need to start emergency dialysis," the doctor said. "And Mr. Hartwell, we need to be realistic. Your kidney function is at 4%. Without a transplant, very soon you're looking at months, not years. Do you have family who might be potential donors? No family. Parents dead. No siblings. Never married. Friends, employees, anyone willing to test for compatibility. I don't ask people for organs, doctor. Just keep me alive long enough to find a match through the registry. But the registry search came back grim. His rare AB negative blood type and antibody profile meant potential donors were almost non-existent. The few matches on the list were years away from coming up in rotation. I'm going to put out a local call, the doctor said. Sometimes we get community members willing to donate to local residents. It's a long shot, but given your situation, fine, whatever. The call went out through local news and social media. Cove Hartwell, prominent local farmer, needed a living kidney donor. Blood type AB negative, critical condition. Anyone willing to test for compatibility should contact the hospital immediately. Responses came in. A handful of locals who knew Cove, a few people hoping for media attention, several who were incompatible blood types. The hospital tested 23 potential donors over 4 days. None were matches. Cove lay in his hospital bed, hooked up to dialysis machines, growing weaker by the day. The toxins were causing complications, heart arrhythmias, fluid in his lungs, altered mental state. Time was running out. On the 5th day, a woman walked into the transplant coordinator's office and said quietly, "I'd like to be tested as a potential donor for Cove Hartwell." The coordinator looked up and recognized her immediately. Sage Winters, the woman everyone in the valley knew Cove, had fired the week before his collapse. The story had spread through the small community. Ruthless billionaire farmer fires single mum for being late to take care of her sick kid, then collapses himself days later. "Ms. Winters," the coordinator said carefully, "you're aware that Mr. Hartwell is the patient requiring donation." "I'm aware." "And you're aware of your recent employment history with him?" "He fired me for being 30 minutes late because my daughter was sick." "Yes, I'm aware. Can we do the blood test or not?" They drew her blood, ran the typing. Tested for antibodies, cross-match compatibility, tissue typing. 6 hours later, the transplant surgeon walked into Cove's room with an expression of disbelief. "We found a match," he said. "Perfect compatibility across all markers. This kind of match is extremely rare, usually only found in siblings. The donor is ready to proceed immediately if you consent to the surgery." Cove, groggy from dialysis and medication, barely processed the words. "Who is it?" "Sage Winters." Cove's eyes snapped into focus. "What?" "Sage Winters. The woman tested this morning. She's a perfect match, and she's willing to donate. Mr. Hartwell, this is the best possible scenario from a medical standpoint. But given your history with Ms. Winters, I need to ensure there's no coercion or inappropriate. I fired her last week. Why would she donate a kidney to me?" I asked her that. She said, and I quote, "Because he's a human being who needs help, and I'm in a position to give it. Personal feelings don't matter when someone's life is on the line." Cove closed his eyes. Shame washed over him in waves. "I can't accept this. Tell her no." "Mr. Hartwell, you'll be dead in 2 weeks without this transplant. Pride isn't worth your life." "It's not pride. She has a daughter. What if something goes wrong? What if she has complications? I can't be responsible for that. Living kidney donation has a 99.8% success rate. Ms. Winters is young, healthy, and has been thoroughly screened. This is her choice. The question is whether you'll respect that choice enough to accept it." For the first time in years, Cove felt tears burn his eyes. "Can I talk to her first?" They brought Sage to his room that evening. She looked different than he remembered, thinner, with shadows under her eyes that suggested she hadn't been sleeping. She wore jeans and a simple shirt, her hair pulled back, and when she looked at him, her expression was unreadable. "Hi," she said quietly. "Sage, sit down, please." She sat in the chair beside his bed, keeping careful distance. "Why are you doing this?" Cove asked. "I fired you. I was cruel. I didn't care that you had a sick child or that you needed the job. Why would you save my life?" "Because it's the right thing to do," Sage said simply. "I'm not donating because I like you or because I've forgiven you for firing me. I'm donating because you're dying and I can help. It's that simple." "It's not simple. You have a daughter. What if something goes wrong? I've read all the statistics. I've talked to the doctors. The risks are minimal and I'm young and healthy. Willow is my priority, which is why I made sure I understood every possible complication before agreeing. This is safe, Cove. And even if it wasn't, even if there was significant risk, I'd still do it, because that's what decent people do. They help when they can. I don't deserve this. Probably not. But that's not how kindness works. If we only helped people who deserved it, the world would be a terrible place. You need a kidney. I have two. The math is simple." Cove's voice broke. "I'm sorry for firing you, for what I said about your daughter, for being such an ass. I was in pain and sick and taking it out on people who didn't deserve it. That's not an excuse, but it's the truth. I appreciate the apology, but I'm not doing this for your apology or because I expect anything from you. I'm doing this because it's right. Now, do you consent to the surgery or not? Because if you're going to refuse out of some misguided sense of pride, I need to know now so I can get back to job hunting." "You still don't have a job? You fired me a week ago. The valley isn't exactly overflowing with employment opportunities. I've been doing odd jobs and trying to figure out how to pay next month's rent. But that's not your problem anymore. It is my problem. Sage, if you do this, if you save my life, I want to help you, need to help you. I don't want your money." "Then what do you want?" She was quiet for a long moment. "I want you to be better. Not just physically, that's the surgery. I want you to be better as a person. To understand that people's struggles aren't inconveniences, that single mothers working multiple jobs aren't lazy or dramatic when they're late because their kids are sick. I want you to use your wealth and influence to help people instead of judging them. That's what I want. Done. I promise. Sage, I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of this gift you're giving me." "Good. Then let's do the surgery." The transplant happened 2 days later. It was a 6-hour procedure, surgeons removing Sage's kidney through a small incision, then transplanting it into Cove's body, where it immediately began functioning, filtering his blood, saving his life. Sage woke in recovery, sore but stable. Cove woke in ICU with a functioning kidney for the first time in years, and the crushing guilt of owing his life to a woman he'd treated terribly. Their hospital rooms were on the same floor. 3 days post-surgery, when Sage was up and walking despite the pain, she visited Cove's room. "How are you feeling?" she asked. "I have a second chance I don't deserve." "How are you?" "Sore, but okay. The doctors say I'm healing well." "Sage, sit down, please. I need to tell you something." She sat, and Cove took a careful breath, his first truly deep breath in months. "I've spent the last 3 days thinking about my life, about the person I've become. I built this farm from nothing. My parents were poor. I worked myself nearly to death building something successful. And somewhere along the way, I forgot what it was like to struggle, forgot to have compassion for people who are where I used to be. You reminded me of that. You and Willow. We didn't do anything. You did everything. You showed me grace I didn't earn, kindness I didn't deserve. You saved my life knowing I'd ruined yours. That's extraordinary. It's just decent humanity, which is apparently rare. Sage, I want to make things right. I'm offering you a job, not at the farm stand, but as Director of Community Outreach for Hartwell Farm, $75,000 a year. Your job would be to develop programs that support struggling families in the valley, childcare assistance, job training, food security. You'd build the programs you needed when you were struggling. Interested? Sage's eyes widened. You're serious? Completely. You'd have full autonomy, real budget, and the chance to actually help people. You were right when you said I should use my resources better. Help me do that. What about Willow? If she's sick, if she needs me, then you leave. No questions, no consequences. Family comes first, always. I learned that the hard way. Sage was quiet, then nodded slowly. I accept. But Cove, this doesn't mean we're friends. This doesn't erase what happened. I know. But maybe over time, I can earn your forgiveness, and maybe your friendship. Over the next 6 months, they healed, physically and emotionally. Sage threw herself into the community outreach role, developing programs that transformed the valley. A subsidized childcare center for farm workers, job training for people transitioning out of poverty, a food bank that operated with dignity instead of shame. And Cove learned to be better. He volunteered at the programs Sage built, met the families she helped, heard their stories and remembered his own childhood of poverty and struggle. He also spent time with Sage and Willow, at first awkwardly, then more naturally. Willow was fascinated by the farm, and Cove found himself teaching her about animals and plants with a patience he didn't know he possessed. "You're good with her," Sage observed one afternoon, watching Cove show Willow how to feed chickens. "She's easy to be good with. She's remarkable, like her mother." Sage looked at him, surprised. Was that a compliment? It was the truth. "Sage, these past 6 months, working with you, seeing what you've built, watching you parent Willow, it's shown me what actually matters, and I need to tell you something." "What?" "I'm in love with you. Have been since about month 3, when you told off a county commissioner for trying to cut funding to our childcare program. You were fierce and brilliant, and I realized I didn't just respect you, I loved you." Sage's breath caught. "Cove, I'm not asking for anything. I know I don't deserve your love after how I treated you, but I needed you to know. You saved my life twice, once with your kidney, once by showing me how to be human again. I'll spend the rest of my life grateful for both." "You're an idiot," Sage said, but she was smiling. "I've been in love with you since month 4, when you donated $500,000 to expand the food bank after seeing how many families needed it. When you stopped being the cruel boss and became the man who actually cares. So we're both idiots in love. Apparently." Sage moved closer. "But Cove, if we do this, if we try, you need to understand, Willow comes first, always, and I'll never be dependent on you. I'll always maintain my independence. I wouldn't want it any other way. Sage, I don't want to own you or save you. I just want to build a life with you, if you'll have me." She kissed him then, soft and questioning and full of possibility. They married a year later in the farm's meadow, surrounded by the community Sage had helped build and the employees who'd become family. Willow was flower girl, taking her job incredibly seriously. During the vows, Cove said, "Sage, I fired you for being late because your daughter was sick. 1 week later, you donated your kidney to save my life. You taught me that real strength isn't refusing to need people, it's having the courage to help them anyway. Thank you for saving my life. Thank you for teaching me how to live it. Thank you for giving me a family when I didn't know I needed one." "Thank you," Sage replied through tears, "for becoming the man worthy of the second chance you were given, for using your resources to help instead of judge, for loving Willow like she's yours, for proving that people can change when they're willing to be vulnerable. I didn't donate my kidney because I loved you. I loved you because of what you became after I donated. That's the real miracle here. Because sometimes the people we hurt the most become the people who save us. Sometimes losing everything teaches us what actually matters. And sometimes firing someone for being late to care for their sick child and then receiving their kidney a week later is exactly the wake-up call needed to transform cruelty into compassion, judgment into grace, and a dying billionaire into a man who finally understands what it means to truly live. And that's where our story ends today. What did you think? Did Cove and Sage's story of redemption and second chances touch your heart? Let us know in the comments what your favorite moment was. If you enjoyed this story, we have so many more waiting for you. Check out our playlist for more heartwarming romance tales that will make you believe in love all over again. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give us a thumbs up. Your support means everything to us. Until next time, keep believing in love, keep believing in second chances, and remember, the best stories are the ones that remind us we all deserve our happily ever after. See you in the next story.